Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Tank Talk. It's been a pretty long time since episode 1, so just to bring you guys up to speed, basically in this series, each video we take a closer look at one of the aquariums here in the Fluval aquatic showroom. We talk about the tank itself, about the aquascape, about the equipment that we're running on the tank. We talk about the fish and the plants, kind of giving you guys an inside look at what we've got going on down here in the showroom. The point of this series is to give you guys maybe inspiration or ideas for the tanks that you've got at home. And at the same time, we'd love to hear your guys' feedback about the tank and maybe get some ideas from you that we can actually incorporate into it or into other tanks here in the showroom. And yeah, so today's episode, we're going to be looking at the 3-foot Asian stream biotope. So we can start by talking about the aquarium itself. Its dimensions are 36 inches by 12 inches by 16 inches. That's about 90 by 30 by 40 centimeters. We've dropped the water level down about 4 inches. The fish that are in the tank are very good jumpers, so lowering the water level was kind of a necessity. So total water volume is about 20 to 25 US gallons, approximately 80 liters. We can talk about the equipment on the tank, first with lighting. So there's a Fluval Cob, the chip-on-board nano aquarium LED. We've also got a Prism 2.0 underwater spotlight LED, which helps to create this sort of dramatic red lighting effect that we've got. In terms of filtration, it's a Fluval 207 performance canister filter. There's an M150 watt submersible heater on the tank as well. We can talk about the aquascape next. So the substrate is just a mix of play sand, of gravel, and of larger pebbles, which we collected locally. In terms of the aquascape, large river stones were also collected locally. There's a little stream out back of the office, and we got them from there. Of course, washed them off properly before adding them to the tank. The large piece of driftwood was purchased at a local aquatics retailer. We can talk livestock now. So the two species of fish in the tank are both danios. They actually occur together. They can be found in the same river system, in the same streams in northern Myanmar. So the first species is C. choprae, the glowlight danio. We have an entire species spotlight video on that species. The link will be in the top right corner of your screen. You can check that out. The other species is the gold ring danio, also sometimes called the spotted Burmese danio, Brachydanio tinwini. Both of these guys obviously cohabiting together naturally. They're really good tank mates. They will sort of loosely shoal together, which makes a really pleasing aesthetic. In terms of plants, obviously there are none. So where these guys are found in the wild, the habitats are described as being small rocky streams. There's no vegetation, it's just faster moving water, large boulders, and nothing else really. So the point of this tank was to very much kind of recreate their natural habitat. It's of course not a pure biotope because a lot of the materials were collected locally as opposed to coming from Myanmar. But nevertheless, we wanted to create something that replicated their natural habitat so that we could get the most natural behavior out of the fish. This aquarium highlights two topics that I think are rather important to discuss. The first is that maintaining an aquarium, the fish keeping hobby, is something that's very challenging and time-consuming and costly. It certainly can be if you look at some of the aquascaping competitions, the tanks that are produced for them, there's so much time and money that's invested into the tank to get it to look as absolutely perfect as it does. The average person, of course, doesn't have time to do all that, doesn't have the funds to do that. But an aquarium like this, is really dead easy to maintain. It doesn't cost much. It's very much a simple, low-tech, low-maintenance layout, but it's still aesthetically pleasing. It's still relaxing. You can still enjoy it and not be a slave to it. I perform a 50% water change on this tank once a week. That takes 15-20 minutes to do. It's really not a lengthy process. Of course, the 07 series fast action maintenance features help to speed that process up, but nevertheless, it's a very quick aquarium to maintain. The fish are not fussy feeders. They'll eat basically everything or anything that you give them. I feed them Fluval bug bites mostly. They love those. More generic flakes, frozen foods, they'll take anything. It's not something that you have to go to the shop constantly and buy these specialty things for. So I think that's important. I think it's important to challenge sort of the stereotype that fish keeping is so difficult and expensive, and let's just get a dog instead. You can set up a beautiful aquarium and you can spend more of your time enjoying the tank as opposed to having to be a slave to it, having to constantly work at it and fuss over it to make it look good. The second topic is that of biotopes. Now, not everyone will agree with me here. There are people who feel that plants are absolutely necessary in every tank at every time, no matter what. There's also people that prefer to put plastic ornaments such as shipwrecks and castles in their aquarium. I am by no stretch of the imagination trying to infer that those aquariums are inferior in any way. As fish keepers, our priority has to be the health and the vitality of our fish. If our fish are thriving, if our fish are doing well, that's what's important, and the actual setup of the aquarium is totally irrelevant at that point. My opinion is that a biotope aquarium, or an aquarium such as this one, which recreates the natural habitat of the species, gives me, as the fish keeper, the best opportunity to make sure that my fish are thriving, because this is a much more natural setting for the fish. This is what they experienced in the wild, and as such, now that they're in captivity, this is what they know. It's comfortable for them, it's familiar. These species look fantastic in planted tanks, but in the streams of northern Myanmar, they very rarely encounter plants. So if I want to get the most natural setting for them, this is more the direction that I want to head in. The other side of the coin is that as the person who's looking at the tank and enjoying the tank, I get to observe the fish with their most natural behaviors. And in my opinion, that is the single most rewarding thing that can be experienced in the fish keeping hobby. So that's all for today, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, or conundrums, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your feedback about this aquarium, about the aquascape, about the fish, about plants, about biotopes, about whatever. Let's have a conversation. Please leave us a like if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new. We'll see you next time.